So, welcome. I am so excited to share some of my best practices when it comes to how do you stop public, embarrassing child meltdowns. If you have ever had a total doozy where there have been tons of onlookers, you're going to want to listen up. Or if you have a child with a big personality, there's some tips today that I think you're going to want to take away so you make sure that you're not inadvertently fueling what you don't want more of in the future. Is that right? So I'm going to jump right into here of just how do we handle these type of meltdowns? And some of this it comes from my new book, Love Parenting: 9 Steps to Get Your Stubborn Child to Listen, but without caving or yelling. So let's jump right in. I'm just going to pull it up here. So yeah, oftentimes like public tantrums can be the worst. And after all the effort you might have put to make sure that everyone gets out the door, maybe you're even doing a fun thing. Maybe you're all excited about being at an arcade or shopping. I had a client recently who was in Chuck E. Cheese and her child had a total meltdown in the parking lot on the way in. So I want you to imagine your child's public tantrum as a test, one that maybe you forgot to study for. So suddenly the spotlight is on you and all eyes are on you, or at least that's what you think. So anxiously, you're searching for that right answer, the answer that just gets them to quiet down, yes? And with any unexpected test, it is best to stay calm, breathe, and remember some basic love principles. And when I talk about love here, I'm talking about living our values every day. So inside, you probably are freaking out. But the best thing to think about is really what are the values you are wanting to instill in your child, not just in the moment, but especially over the long term. I had a very humbling moment publicly. I can remember my worst. I've had a few, but this one was the worst one. Um, what what was rung out in McDonald's? It was in a big food court. It was order me my burger. He was like a hangry Viking. And to say it was a dramatic scene would be a big understatement. So, we were in the middle of a bustling food court. It's prime lunch hour, and there's over 200 pairs of eyes on us. And suddenly they're all very interested in this lunchtime theater. And on stage, we've got one combative, blind 8-year-old. Yes, I used to be a nanny for 2 blind brothers. And he was using his most impressive ninja moves on me as he's swinging his cane. His younger brother, also blind, is doing a comedic number, giggling in the corner. Me? I'm dodging the cane and wondering where the trap door is so I can go hide forever. But am I calm? Am I breathing? Of course I'm not. All I want to do is to figure out how I can be swallowed up by the floor and disappear. So I actually was the one who messed up in hindsight. I forgot the essential snack stash at home. And in hindsight, I tried to squeeze in a week's worth of activities into that one morning. We were all overly stimulated, overly exhausted, and secretly, I'm half expecting someone to approach me from Child Protection Services badge and to say, like, come with me. Now, somehow I lure him off that tantrum tower and we quickly refuel with my parenting ego bruised. Well, that episode happened decades ago. It's a memory that serves as a bit of a hilarious but humbling reminder that humility can crop up anytime. And like under the glaring lights of that food court, maybe. But even though these are super challenging and terribly humbling, I really want us to think about how can we better prepare ourselves for these things happening? Because if you have a strong-willed child in your midst, you likely have one that doesn't take no for an answer, that questions everything. So whether you have had your public tantrum humiliation yet or not, I really want you to be prepared for it. So sometimes, you'll be able to catch the storm quickly and nimbly navigate around it using what I call a distraction action. These are simple redirections such as, hey, have you noticed that cool shopping cart? It's like a pirate ship. Could you help me find the apples? Or let's stop right here and power up with some goldfish crackers, shall we? Or did you see that awesome fuzzy blue sweater, like for shopping? I could really use a big flying hug right now. Would you give me one? Some of these might sound silly, and you know your child best, but distractions really can work wonders, especially if you infuse them with fun, a bit of an imagination, lightheartedness. And if the storm is a beast, like the one I dealt with and really has come on strong, it's best to set your anchor and wait for it to pass. So instead of attempting to shout louder than the wind, which doesn't work with actual storms nor children, um, this might be the time to get down on your child's level. Um, and sometimes it's just taking pause and staying with it, letting them expel all that pent up emotion. Because when we go in and try to shut it down, there's a really great saying, what we resist persists. And this is so true when it comes to meltdowns. So, can you set the timer on your phone and exhale more than you inhale to just let it go? Or use something like the box breath to help regulate your own nervous system while you let them just wail away. That you might need it more than they do at that time, but at least you taking the lead in starting to show them what a calming presence look like, validating maybe what they're going through is like, hey, I totally see you got some big emotions right now. So I'm curious if you can relate to any of this or have your own go-tos or embarrassing stories. I'd love to hear them, for sure. But I also have some public tantrum playful scripts that I'm going to give you a couple here. I'm going to just look them up. Yeah, one of this could be being pretending to be an emotion detective, especially if you have young children, which, you could sound like, uh-oh, seems like we've got an important case of the runaway feelings. What if we became emotion detectives? Can you tell me what feeling is running away fastest? Is it frustration, sad, anger, tired? Maybe they say, I'm mad. You're like, wow, great identification work. You caught our main feeling suspect. Thanks for helping out. Let's find a quiet spot to help us calm down so we can really solve this case. That can be just a real playful way. Now, if they're not hearing you at all, it is best to just, metaphorically hug that tree and stay put and let them have it. And then as soon as you see it coming down a little bit, it might be where you can put your arm around them and say, hey, let's head home or let's go have a little snack over here in the quiet corner. So, how is this all sounding to you? I would love to know that, I've got one last thing to say is this. One of the fun secrets is that most of those people watching aren't actually judging. Some are actually sympathizing because they've either been in the same boat or they're simply relieved that it's not their turn to be captain of the SS Tempest today, right? So, I really suggest, can you flash them your pearly whites and just do a little yeah, it's one of those days kind of day glances? You may even get a few been there too kind of nods. Um, but can we hold our head high, handle it with the most grace we can, patience, and maybe even a small dash of theatrical flair, a little wink, a shrug, this is what we're dealing with today. What do I know? One of my favorite quotes is Eleanor Roosevelt. I just love her. She's got a couple that I adore. But one of them, she said, you wouldn't worry so much about what others think of you if you realize how seldom they do. Good reminder. I want to thank you for joining me today or listening to this. If you're not yet a member of the Stubborn Child Solutions Facebook group, it's free. I'd love to have you come over there. I would love to be in contact or see how I might be able to support you further. And if you haven't heard lately, thank you for all you do day in, day out. Parenting is not a sprint, it is a marathon. And you, my friend, are not only doing it, but you're here. You're looking for tips, you're looking for ways to really raise your game. And I will look forward to the possibility of being part of that support structure for you to go forward and have an awesome relationship with your child and a more harmonious home, too. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye bye.